Pastor Dr. Paula White, we are so grateful to have you here in Uganda. And the news is everywhere, the billboards are everywhere. There's a lot of excitement. And we want, first of all, to thank the President and the First Lady of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency the President Yoweri Museveni, and the First Lady Mama Jennifer Museveni, for having accorded you this kind of welcome in the country. He called me 6 in the morning to tell me that you were coming. And yet I was the host. So he was so excited about it, and everything he has done to provide you with all necessary state accredited, whatever is needed. So we are so grateful for that. Secondly, we're so grateful that you are in Uganda today as a woman of God and as an advisor to President Trump. And in watching you at a distance, we've known each other for over 25 years. Long time. So it's such a blessing to have you in this country. And we believe that this week is going to make a big difference, both in government and church. And we're going to see a partnership we have never seen before. I know you've been also in the region around here. So God made it possible that the Great Lakes region will be impacted by your visit. And we appreciate and admire President Donald Trump, what he's doing, and what is being on the table, the peace in all over the world. Yes. And we are grateful for that. And on behalf of the churches and the pastors, the Christians, we want to welcome you. You are highly welcome here. And as I said, we have people on the side of government, and we have Lady Justice Bamgemerere, and Assistant Inspector General of Police, and also my wife is here. Yes. And we also welcome your husband and your son and the rest of the crew. Thank you for coming to Uganda. I know everybody is waiting. These are members of the press and from different press. You've been covered in different media houses. Yes. I was looking at our leading daily New Vision, and they've written for you in local language and in English as well. So the whole nation is ready to receive from you your anointing, your wisdom, your ability. And we've been playing your programs for the past 6 months live daily on the Channel 44 television, our TV station, which covers now the whole of Africa. So we are so grateful. Welcome to Uganda. And members of the press, this is Pastor Paula White-Cains.
I love Africa. I've been coming to Africa since the mid-'80s to late '80s, and many different countries, and have stood with Africa for years. And I really believe, though, that this is so significant and so historic. This will be our 5th country. We were in Ghana, Gabon, Rwanda, DRC, and now Uganda. And I truly believe that God is up to something great. There's no such thing as a coincidence. It's very difficult to find 2 weeks out of a year for me. And to bring all this together in itself was very supernatural. So thank you. And to everyone in Uganda, I cannot wait to see you, to pray over you, to stand with you, and for us to learn together and grow together as God is moving in this nation. Well, first and foremost, I'm here in my personal capacity, and I've been in ministry over 40 years. I expect a move of God. I believe this is equipping time. I believe that we're in a time of transformation for Uganda, for the nation, for the people. There's that place that they talk about, which is the tipping point, where it tips into that next level, that next place. I truly believe spiritually that people will be equipped, that there will be a mighty move of the Spirit. And we know historically the great revivals that have happened in Uganda. We know that the people of Uganda are deeply spiritual and love God. And so I believe that the revivals of the past are going to turn into reformation now. That literally we will see what Uganda's original intention by God will come to pass. And that leads into the second question, because I've been with President Trump for 25 years. And when he was looking at the condition of our country in 2011, and many people don't know this, Pastor Robert. They think it just happened, but nothing just happens. He didn't like the way that our country was going. It had begun to decline, and he said, Paula, we had a big ministry up in New York. I was with him quite often, and he said, Paula, I don't like the way our country's going. What do you think? I told him what I thought. He said, what is God saying? When he said that, I cannot just answer. I said, sir, may I bring some people up to pray? There were about 30 of us, pastors that love God, men and women of God. We gathered in Trump Tower and prayed about 6.5 hours. And the word of the Lord was confirmed to us, went back down and let President Trump, went to his office. He was in and out of the prayer meeting, and let him know what the Lord was saying. And I said, you'll be president one day. And I said, and a tear ran down my face, and I said, but I hate the price you're going to pay. That was 2011. No one thought this businessman from New York would be president, but we knew. So this didn't start by campaigning or by politics. It started because we never stopped the prayer. The prayer groups just continued to grow and grow. This was a move of God that was really done by Christians in America, that were looking at laws that were anti what we believe. You know that because I know some of our administrations came to this country that are not in alignment with what we are in alignment with at the Trump administration, and tried to place an ethical, moral agenda on many nations that even in America, the fabrication of the church does not agree with. And we needed victory. We did not want a generation to go from God. And I've got a good report. Even in the last month, our Bible sales are up over 60-something%. At the beginning of the year is 20-something%. They said we'd gone down to 52%. We are almost at 70% of a Christian nation again. Majority of people. There's a real move of God. So no matter what you see, the fake news, and I know you don't have that in Uganda, saying, know this, there is a remnant people that God has raised up. And our president recognizes the impact and the importance of that. So he established the White House Faith Office. Never done. Historic. First time. It's not with partnership or community. It's solely faith. And he elevated it to the highest level so that our office is housed in the West Wing and expands all through government. And while I'm here on my personal, I have recently been appointed as senior advisor to President Trump over the White House Faith Office. It is my great honor. I believe if we can cultivate that seed of pregnancy in people and help them not look at their situation and circumstance. If I looked at my circumstance, I'd still be living in a trailer in poverty. I came from a very broken childhood. I'll explain that probably in my preaching. I had a lot of dysfunction, and I got saved at 18 years old. And when you have that but God moment, it can change everything. Deal with it is a lot of really introspection, because we serve a great God. He hears our prayers. But we can also get so religious, we think God does it all and we do nothing. God expects us to do our part. Romans 12. We are not to be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing, renovation of our mind. We have to take the bad out, the trauma, the negative, the automated negative thoughts, and put the good in God's word. So there's much. We know that God is our victory. He is our supplier. But deal with it makes us face ourselves. And I love that book because I took 12 people out of the Bible, and specifically women for the most part, but not all, Jacob, etc. And when God asked Jacob, what is your name, Jacob? Get suspicious with an all-knowing God, whoever asks you a question. He knows everything. And I said, okay, why is he asking? It had nothing to do with God wanting to know Jacob's name. It had to do with Jacob confronting himself. Yes, I'm a liar. I'm a conniver. I'm a fraud. I've done this. And when he confronted that, a merciful, gracious God said, no longer you, Jacob, because he was wrestling with God. He's wrestling with his flesh, wrestling with character. But you will prevail with God and prevail with man. So God changes his name, of course. So I think that's important. And then move on up is really about that. We get stuck often. I have this message, Pastor Robert. I talk about there are 3 steps. If you look at a mountain seems so unconquerable. It's just too big. But the reality is there are camp doers, and they stay at the base of the mountain because they look up and say, well, my father died, or my mother left me, and I was in poverty. I never got an education. I'm this, I'm that. And they don't even attempt to walk up that mountain or believe God can and will. Then there's a second layer of people, and that is the campers. They start to climb the mountain, and anytime you start to move forward, Satan will show up. That is what he comes to do. I don't think he's really perturbed about those of us who are lackadaisical or just think, well, maybe if I get to heaven one day. But the moment you start walking out God's purpose on the earth, then battles come. And I say that your amount of success in life is really with your amount of adversity that you can handle. So no one wants the battle. They don't want the trouble. But you don't get the success without that. So we're looking at a pathway of success. Know that every battle is building the spiritual muscle. And then there are the climbers. And the climbers are not like the camp doers making excuses from the past, or the campers that cannot handle the battles. And we know it's God's. He will equip you. He's not going to let a kindergarten go through a college level battle. He's going to be with you every step of the way. But there are the campers, or there are the climbers, and the climbers make it to the top. And that top is very small. The more you go up the mountain, the smaller it gets at the top. Less oxygen, harder to breathe. You better be in best shape. So not just shape physically. You have to be in spiritual shape, intellectual shape, mental shape, and physical shape, because you're carrying the glory of God. Climbers, there's only a few that make it up to Mount Everest. So moving on up is for people who don't want to stay stuck. And I think I went on CNN just to say, well, my very favorite one was they called me a heretic. I said, which would be an apostasy. It would be really not a good thing. And so I said, this is quite fascinating. I called the church to judge me. And so, of course, no one did. It was one particular person, a charlatan, a handful of people. Here's what I say. It's all noise. It's noise. And if you allow other people's opinion, it's only an opinion. That's not fact about me.